Hello everyone, my name is Varun and today in this video we are going to learn about complete roadmap to learn React. It will be helpful for those who are planning to start learning in React and even for those who have already started exploring React. Also, I will be covering multiple topics in React, but it is not mandatory that you should know each and every topic. Sometimes, in order to solve a particular thing, there are multiple libraries, and even if you know a single library for that particular thing, it will be fine. Apart from that, I am not sharing the prerequisite here to start with React, but yes, having a good understanding of JavaScript and ES Next concepts are going to be very helpful. So if you look at the screen, you can see that I have divided the complete React development into multiple sections. So we are going to discuss about React fundamentals. We are going to discuss about debugging in React. What are the topics which are there for React beyond basics? Then we are going to discuss about different libraries or complete React ecosystem. Then we are going to discuss about testing library in React. Then we are going to discuss about building cross-platform applications in React. At the end, we will also be exploring about different projects that we should build so that we can become job ready and more confident in building any project in React. So let's start with our first topic, that is React fundamentals. So you can see that in React fundamentals, you should know the basics of components, right? And in components, there are two types of components in React, that is class-based components and functional components. Apart from that, there will be states and props, which are the primary things that every component should have. Then for building the UI, React uses JSX. Once JSX is done, there is styling. For styling, as of now, let's just focus about inline CSS we can have in JSX. Okay. Then you should have a basic understanding of different hooks like use state hook, use effect hook. Hooks are very beneficial if you are building or if you are working with functional components. Then you should have a good understanding of what is conditional rendering. Then showing the list of different items in my component. Then you should have a basic understanding of what are forms, how forms work in React ecosystem. For forms, there are two ways. We have controlled components and there are uncontrolled components. Apart from that, there is a concept called composition in React, which is used to have a parent and child relationship. So guys, this is all for covering React fundamentals. So once you have covered this React fundamental, you can build a basic level applications like to-do app or recipe app. Don't worry, we are going to discuss about these apps, these projects later in this video. So as you know that while developing any application, there is a need for debugging, right? So React provides two different tools. The one tool is the default tool that every React developer should know, that is React DevTools. You can install this extension in your browser. Apart from that, if you are using any state management library, specifically it is going to be Redux. So Redux provides an extension called Redux DevTools, which is used to look at the current state of my component at a specific amount of time. Now, as we have covered React fundamentals and basics of debugging, now let's move on to React beyond basics. So you can also say that advanced topics of React. So first of all, you should know about all the different hooks that are provided by React. There are use reducer, use context, use ref, use callback, use memo, or you can also create your own custom hooks. So out of these, use memo is used to have better optimization in my application. Use reducer is a hook if we have to handle complex state management in my own local component. Okay, once hooks is done, There is a API called context API. Like there is a concept in React called props drilling, which makes the application very complex if there is having n level of depth. So context API is there to rescue in that cases. Similarly, there is a concept called code splitting. Code splitting is used if you are having a big application and the bundler size is very big. So we can have dynamic loading, or you can say lazy loading in my application so that my application loads faster. Another topic is boundaries in my development mode. If I want to see the different errors in a beautiful manner, then you can use error boundaries. Then there is a concept called static type checking. It is like every component is having few probes. So static type checking will be checking that are these probes available, what is the data type of that particular probe. Similarly, there are refs if you want to do any kind of DOM manipulation in React. Then there are portals if you want to use a component which should be visible or should be added outside of my parent child hierarchy. Don't worry, we are going to discuss about these topics. Similarly, there is a profiler. Profiler is usually used if I want to check the performance of my application, if I want to see how many re-renders are happening in my application. Apart from that, at the end, we can understand the concept of reconciliation. React is using a certain algorithm to make the changes in the data, to show the changes, to make the changes in the DOM. So it is using such kind of algorithm, and that concept is called reconciliation. So guys, these were the topics which are beyond the basics. I hope you have get the basic clarity of what are the different things we can have in advanced React. So now, once we have the understanding of React fundamentals and advanced React topics, let's now move on to the complete React ecosystem, or the different libraries that we can use with React. As you guys know that React is a UI library, right? So everything which is required is not available in core React library. We need to use other libraries to support that. So let's move on to form and validation. For handling forms, as I have mentioned that there are controlled components and uncontrolled components, handling forms can be a tedious task in React, so we can use different libraries. So for forms and validations, there is a library called Formic and Yup. Similarly, there is a React hook form, then React final form. So I prefer using Formic and Yup. So it is not a hard and fast rule. It is my opinion. You can use React Final Form also because these tools are quite similar. Now every application requires a state. So in order to rescue ourselves from prop drilling, we can use a state management library, which can be Redux. We can even use Apollo client, which is provided by GraphQL. Apart from that, we can use Mobex or Recoil. So there are multiple options that we can use for these state management libraries. Redux is the one which is most commonly used or most popular state management library at this moment. But yes, Mobex is also very good. If we talk about Recoil, it is still in experimental or in very initial phases. For routing, we have React Router. It is the most common and widely adopted, library for having routing in my application. Now let's move to type checking. As I mentioned that for every component, we can pass properties like props. For each prop, there is a different type. I can have a function, it can be a string, right? Or it can be a boolean. So this kind of type checking can be done by Flow, or we can create our application using TypeScript. For styling, we have different ways. We can have styled components. We can use CSS modules. Right now, we can even use Tailwind CSS in our application. Apart from that, there are different UI component libraries available. Like there is React Strap, which is for Bootstrap. Then Material UI, you can use Ant Design, Chakra UI, or Tailwind UI. Now let's move to API client. API client is used if you want to connect your front-end application with the backend. If you want to get data from the backend, so you can get the data from the backend via two things. Either it can be via REST APIs, for which we can use Axios library, or we can even use a default library which is provided by browsers, that is Fetch. Apart from that, we can use GraphQL uh, for getting the data. And as I mentioned that we can use Apollo client, which can act as state management, and it can also help me get the data from the server. So now if we look at the different frameworks or any static site generator, there are two options. One is Next.js. It provides a facility to have server side rendering. Server side rendering is helpful if we want to build our application which is SEO friendly. Apart from that, it also helps us to build static site generation. For static site generation, there is another tool, that is Gatsby. So we can use Gatsby to build static site applications. So this is the complete React ecosystem. Let me close it. And now for testing, we have two things. Earlier React was using Jest, and now they have recently launched a React testing library. And React testing library, there is a complete package of testing library which is providing a facility to test different frameworks like even uh, Angular, Vue or React. Apart from that, React also provides us a facility if we want to go to mobile apps. So it helps us to build cross-platform apps via a library called React Native. It provides a way to build native UI using this React Native. So guys, we have covered most of the things that we can do with React. Now the next part is, what are the different projects that we should build in order to practice all these fundamentals beyond basic concept, or different libraries or libraries related to React ecosystem. So I have tried explaining or mentioning about different projects. So let's go step by step. If you have learned your fundamentals, you can try it out building to-do application where you can have a text box and then a button, and you can add multiple to-dos. You can tap on your particular list item in to-do, which will mark it as complete or incomplete. Similarly, you can build a recipe app where I can give a complete recipe that I can build. There can be multiple, ingredients and multiple steps I can have in my recipe application. So these are going to be bare minimum small applications which you can build once you have covered your React fundamentals. Now, if you want to build a medium level application where you can cover most of the things of basics, and you can also apply few of the topics from React advanced concepts, then you can build two applications. I would suggest creating a user management app where you will be having login, sign up, and there will be a listing. So you can create a complete thread related application. Apart from that, you can create pizza delivery application. In pizza delivery application, I would recommend you to build an application similar to Domino's pizza app, where you can see a listing of pizzas. Then there can be option to customize your pizza by adding different toppings and selecting different base and sizes. It is going to be very interesting application that you can build. So now we can also move to advanced projects where you can build a complete hotel management app. It can be a clone of GoIbibo hotel application, or you can create a clone of Trivago app. So from advanced, you can actually use most of the libraries that I have mentioned, that most of the fundamental and advanced topics that I have covered in this complete roadmap. Similarly, you can have a flight booking application like Make My Trip, GoIbibo flights. Apart from that, you can create an online trading app like Upstocks, Zerodha. So online trading apps, as you know that in trading we need to show the real-time data, right? So you can even use Socket.io in within your React application for seeing the real data. So once you have covered or once you have completed multiple projects in React, it is better to create some reusable component that you can use, for your own purpose, and you can actually reuse those components in future projects. So there are two things, like you can create multiple components. The ideas I can provide you is you can create a autocomplete component, you can create a calendar component, or you can create a data table component. So even from a single component, like let's say you are creating a autocomplete component, you can learn many different concepts, or you can apply multiple concepts of React while creating a single component. Similar is for data table component, where you will be showing a listing, then you will be having a facility to add filters for each column, you will be having functionality to show pagination, and you can even drag or change the position of your columns in your data table. So these are the complex components that I would suggest you to build to go to another level, and you can at the end host your component in Storybook. If you don't know about Storybook, you can explore about it, or I can have a separate video on that. Apart from that, once you have created few of the reusable components, I would also suggest you to build few of the custom hooks for your own purpose in the application, where you feel that you are repeating your code in your React application. Prefer creating custom hooks for that. Like I can create a custom hook for dark mode, like I can have dark mode or light mode in my application via a single click. Similarly, for handling the local storage data, I can create a custom hook for that. And if I need to have Socket.io functionality in my application, I can create my custom Socket.io connector hook for that. So guys, I hope that you have liked this complete roadmap that I have shared with you. Actually, I understand that the roadmap should not contain the projects, but yes, it is good if we have some projects for our practice, and sometimes it becomes quite confusing in deciding the projects that we should build during this whole journey of learning React. You can only challenge your skills if you build multiple projects, and you can become better in any technology only if you practice building multiple projects. If you feel that you have learned something new here, then do like, share, and subscribe to my channel for further such content. If you have any query or you want to share any feedback with me, do comment below on this video. I will try my best to help you out with your queries, and your feedback will help me improvise further in this journey. That's all from my side, guys. Thank you.